ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः.
So I think we have a good decent number to begin with. Thank you everyone and very warm welcome to this session of Wellbeing, wherein we are going to talk about the well-being of the spiritual and mind. And I'll pass on without wasting further time to Hemant to help us give an overview and idea and some things about to know better about Sir Rukmini Jivandas.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you please open your video if you don't? Yeah, thank you. So it's an honor to me, just to introduce Rukmini Jivandas in this session. And if I talk about him, so Rukmini Jivandas is a qualified chartered accountant, and he has worked in the various multinational companies, Barclays, Deloitte, and I'm happy to inform that his last association was with the NetWest only, and I got an opportunity to work with him around 1.5 years in his last working corporate experience. And if I talk about his leadership skill role, right, he has played a very multiple leadership roles in the different organizations. And with his 25 years of corporate experience in the industry, right, when he left the NetWest, that time he was playing a role of as a vice president, as a principal business analyst in terms of new ways of working role, right. And he has excelled his career. It is his passion towards perfection has earned a lot of awards, national and international awards. His academic, he has been very sincere since the starting from his academic college at the CA community. He started his spiritual journey, I think, around 50 years back, and he associated with ISKCON, and now currently organizing several courses and seminars for the corporates and the students as well. He's a very, very good mentor, and personally, I have been in touch with him a couple of times, and I always got a very good solution or good tips from him. And he basically, he excel how to people, how to upskill, how to set their priorities, how to balance their work-life balance, how to manage the mental stress. So he has been very good in that. Apart from that, recently he has started one Gaurang Gurukul, and he's where I think 25 plus students are studying, where he's taking care of his further journey. So let's not talk about much because I can talk whole day for him, right? So I'm stopping myself, and so it's about it's a privilege to have him here, and we have an opportunity to hear from him. So I request him, please inspire all of us and help us add purpose and value to our life, how we can balance our mental stress in the corporate world. Thank you. Rukmini Jivandas for it. Thank you.
Yes, hi. Very good afternoon to all of
you. You're on mute, probably.
Sorry. Very good afternoon to all of you. I actually, in my whole career, wherever I worked, this was the longest journey at RBS. So I always love talking to the people. I get all those old memories. Okay, so today I'll try to not speak a lot of jargons, philosophy which you cannot digest and nobody understands it, and I do a cakewalk and go away. We'll talk something which can be digested, which is practical, which is easy to understand. Okay, so mental well-being, that was the topic I was told to conduct. So I think it's got a very good initiative because we do a lot of hard work, and ultimately if we are not mentally calm and cool and satisfied, and will not be able to perform in the organization as well. So before we start, I think within the topic itself, I thought that we will start with some definitions, what we are looking for. So we are looking for well-being of mind, something related to mind, which is mental. Okay. So when we talk about well-being, to start with, so we may have different understandings of what is meant by well-being. So I thought let's come on the same page. When we talk about well-being, to my mind, it is a constant state. It is not a sudden spark in my what we call as happiness survey. At my time when I was at RBS, we used to do those surveys, happiness index. I don't know if it's going on right now or not. So a sudden spark in index, nobody will actually notice if immediately after the next day it is coming down. So we feel very high when it comes to Friday evening, but when it comes to Sunday evening, I think I heard somewhere that a lot of failures happen in the Sunday evening because of the thought that next day I have to go to the office. So similarly, when we go out to a journey, we are going to a suppose hill station and we do a planning for months, and finally the day comes and we are all excited. But when towards the end of the journey, the thought comes of coming back, returning back to the same metropolitan and then going to the office, so it becomes a nightmare. So I will not call that as well-being. So organizing a tour, I will not call it a well-being. Going to a pub and having some shots and going to a high, and then in the next day in the morning, we know what happens. So again, I will not call it as a happiness index, as a well-being. So when I consider well-being is a constant state where it does not depend whether you are in the office or you are in a Goa beach. You are meeting the target or you are not meeting the target. You are getting success or you are not getting success. It's whether it's a Friday evening or it's a Monday morning. The person is at a constant degree of calmness, coolness, and satisfaction, happiness. I will call that as mental well-being or well-being. So why we are discussing is that because sometimes with the definition of well-being is wrong, we try to attempt to some of the remedies, solutions which give us a temporary kick. But very soon we come down to the same stage. So it is very much important that we understand that what we want to achieve is a constant well-being, and not a sudden temporary well-being. Okay. I'll try to make it short so that we can discuss some question answer at the end. So I don't have a lot of pages in this PPT. Okay. So now talk about the mind, because we are talking about the mental well-being. So generally what we think is mind as myself, right? So when we talk about mental well-being, I mean is my well-being. So let us talk about in some detail about the mind, and we will do we'll take some of the references from some of the Vedic scriptures. Why? Because it is very difficult. Very little information, knowledge available in the medical science or in the temporary studies and the medical education we do. Very little information of the mind, and we get a lot of information about the mind in the Vedic scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and all. So because we are talking about mental well-being, let's discuss in more detail about what is mind and how the mind can be eternally satisfied, or can it be eternally satisfied? These are the questions. So here we have mentioned that the three major activities of mind are thinking, feeling and willing. So thinking part, we know that we always think, even when we are sleeping, we are thinking something. We are thinking about something. Our past, whatever happened in the day, some weird dreams come in our mind. So all those things keep on happening, and the mind is always at work, even when we are sleeping. So we are thinking about a lot of things. What we hear, we think about what we hear. What we see during the day, what we read during the day. So all those things, and last impressions, it's impressions of childhood and youth, and sometimes previous life, if you believe in that. Okay. So we always do thinking. And what happens after thinking? So when we contemplate about something, we develop feelings, right? So feelings can be derived from our past experience. So suppose I'm thinking about eating an ice cream. So I ate my last ice cream the last month, suppose, and whatever feeling I had, when I start thinking about, when I'm passing through Baskin Robbins, I immediately think about, oh, I had ice cream last week and last month, whatever, and the feeling comes in our mouth. Even if we are not eating it, the feeling comes. That's the activity of the mind. And sometimes the feeling comes from the experience of others. So sometimes, do you know that sometimes people are very expert in telling stories, and when they are telling stories, we feel like we are part of the story. We feel from the eyes of that person. Sometimes we are watching a movie and actually we think that we are part of the movie. So feeling is not only always depending on our experience, feeling also depends on the experience others have, and how they convey the experience to us. So now think about it. A lot of thoughts which are coming to the mind. The mind thinks about innumerable things, that, and whenever it thinks, the feelings develop. And what happens when the feeling develops? As soon as the feeling develops, we want the thing. That is called a desire. A desire comes out. That is called willing. That's the third activity, and it's a natural thing. It happens automatically. You think about something, you develop feeling about that, and then you want to achieve it. It can be anything. It can be bad thing, it can be good thing, anything, because mind does not know about what is bad and what is good. In terms of my parents, my nation, Vedic scripture is nothing. It's simply thinking, feeling, and willing. So the desires of the mind are unlimited, it is said. Why? Because it is always thinking. So it is said that like there are innumerable fish in an ocean, and we can see only few fishes coming out of the water when they jump off. Only few of them. But inside the sea, there are innumerable number of fish. Similarly, within us, there is unlimited number of desires. Some desires come out as we go along the life. When we see something, when we think something, when we see something, when we hear something, some of the desires become prominent. So that's a major activity of mind. Now, is my mind me? That's a question. Why we are asking this question? Because we want well-being, and because we want the well-being of ourselves. I don't know who is mine. I don't care about mind and the soul and the intelligence and all those things. I want to make myself happy. But the thing is, unless we know it in detail, and we will be, we'll be having a lot of sessions by different people. There are a lot of people talking about motivational theories and how to be happy, and some say raise your hand and say ha ha ha, and a lot of things, lot of styles. But unless we go inside deep and understand who am I and what is the mind, is I am different from mind. So these are the things we want to discuss. So majorly we discussed about what are the activities of the mind. Now if we understand that these are the activities of the mind, the next question is how to make the mind peaceful or satisfied, right? Because we want happiness. So now here is in this page you can see it is said in the Bhagavad Gita that the body is at the lowest level, the whole body. This is called gross body, which we can see. This body is an whole element, and it is at the lowest level in the consciousness. What is the next level of consciousness? Is mind. Above the body there are senses. There are intelligent body organs. So whole body, and then intelligent body organs like hand. Hand is very intelligent, can do multiple things. You know that all the things we do with the hand. And there are other body parts like ears, nose, which are very complicated and very intelligent. So above the body are these bodily parts which are very intelligent, we call as sense organs, karmendriya, jnanendriya, working senses, knowledge gaining senses, knowledge acquiring senses. So these senses are controlled by the mind. Therefore mind is very important. You know that, because the mind, what does the mind do? We just heard about it. The mind does ultimately, mind creates desires based on the thinking and contemplating about it, and feeling about it and the desires. So based on the desires the mind creates, all our bodily parts start functioning. They are servants of the mind. The mind controls the different body parts. As soon as mind says, I want to eat this, the entire body, even if the weight of our body is 150 kg, it immediately starts moving towards a restaurant or somewhere. Whenever the mind says, I want to see something beautiful, immediately some hits on the Google, and we see something, whatever we want to see. So as soon as the desire comes in the mind, our senses start functioning, and we try to satisfy the desires of the mind. For example, we want to taste something which is very delicious. We want to hear something which is soothing, maybe, which is fitting the moment. Sometimes we want rock, sometimes we want bhajan, and so on. We want to see something very beautiful, whatever is the definition of beautiful as per me. We want to smell something which is like a excellent fragrance, perfumes and all, and touch something which is very soft, and so on. So we try to satisfy always the mind, and therefore it is not a surprise that the topic is mental well-being. But because what we think is mind is all about what we know, because what I am is sum total of desires, isn't it? We are always trying to satisfy one of my desire. That's why we are working the RBS so long hours, because we want to earn something at the end. We want to spend something in whatever I want to wear, I want to go to an outing. or sometimes I want some position, some command, some control. So we want some position at a company. So different needs. I mean, Maslow theory, you know that. So we are always trying to satisfy the asks of the mind, and therefore we always talk about mental well-being. But what happens? Because we need to know that are we the mind, and our all endeavors to satisfy the mind actually have not success. We have not achieved the success in this. Why? Because always there is something which does not go the way I planned it. So there was a project, everything was going fine, but something in some part happens not the way we thought about it. What we do, we always think that okay, I was able to achieve it, I was going to achieve it, I was about to achieve it, but something happened. Next time I'll do better planning, and I will achieve it, I will get it. And the hope, in this hope, we are running, and we are never actually achieving it. We are never achieving the state of well-being. You know, in the beginning we discussed what is the state of well-being. It is not a sudden happiness, my index going up and then going down. That's what we started with. So even after our so much endeavor, so much education, so many projects, so much money, everything we got friends, we got wife, and we got husbands, and we got a lot of things, but we have not still achieved the state of where we can say that yes, this I have achieved the state of complete satisfaction. Where the mind is calmed down, now cool, satisfied. So that is the thing. So even after so much, we have given some of the examples that watching movie, gaming, food and beverages, and a lot of other things. They give us small intervals for happiness, but not the eternal satisfaction. That is the result. So now the important question is how to satisfy this mind. Why we are not able to satisfy it? As we discussed, the desires are unlimited, like fishes in an ocean. How you are going to satisfy so many desires? As soon as you satisfy one, immediately another comes up. Just like 10 heads of Ravan, you must have heard about Ravan. As soon as the Ram would cut off one of the head, immediately the head would again appear. So similarly, as soon as we satisfy one desire, there are 10 more desires which suddenly appear, and we are in a constant state of trying to satisfy one of the desire. And in this pursuit, we become slaves. We become slaves of the senses instead of being controller of the senses. We become slaves because we always trying to satisfy one of the desire. So how to satisfy the mind? Then we have to go little deeper into it. Okay. So this is something which I think very few people know, and this is the science of soul. Here it is said that the mind is a material element. Nobody knew. You know the matter. What is called as matter. Matter is dead, like earth, water, ether. You know that air and fire. These are the dead elements. We say there is no life into it. So generally speaking, people think that this world is made of these 5 elements, which is not the complete truth, because our Vedic scriptures tell us these are not the 5 elements. There are 24 elements, including these 5 gross elements. Then we have 5 working senses, 5 senses, sense objects, 3 modes of material nature. I will not go into that detail. So there are 24 elements. So matter is not these 5 elements only. Mind is also one of the element in this 24 elements by which this universe has been created. So this is a material element. What do you mean by that? I mean by that is it is not a living element. So how it can be so dynamic that it always thinking, feeling and willing? How can a dead person think and then create desires? It appears that mind is creating the desires, whereas mind is just a media by which the living entity actually creates the desires. Just an example that we run a computer with a laptop. So laptop takes our all commands. We say okay, do this by the finger, sometimes by voice. Now the computer is taking the instruction from the voice also. Cortana or Siri, all those things. They are recognizing the face as if a person. I meet a person who knows to me by face to face. We recognize. Now the computers are recognizing by our face. So it looks like that a mobile or a computer or laptop is a living entity, but whereas it is not a living entity. It has been programmed, and then there is a source of energy into it. There is a power supply, there is a battery by which it is living actually. Otherwise, without power, it is dead. Similarly, mind is also a media by which we are expressing all these things. Mind is actually a dead element, a material element. So body can be divided into three parts as is shown here. One is called the gross body, which is made of ether, water, air, fire, and earth, which we can see by our eyes. That's why it's called gross. Then there are a few things which we cannot see, which are called subtler, sukshma, and within that we have within the subtle body, the middle one, we have mind, false ego, and intelligence, the three elements. And we are talking about the mind. So mind is one of the material element, one of the subtle material element which we cannot see from our eyes, but we can feel the presence of mind. Like we can feel the presence of air when it flows by the moving leaves of a tree. Now, similarly, whenever the desires are coming in our mind, just think that we have an active mind inside which is working now, based on the lot of perceptions, different circumstances in which we have grown up, different things we have seen in our life, we have heard in our life, our parental, how we have got the care in my childhood, and all those things. Based on all that criteria, mind does what? Thinking, feeling, and willing. So what I wanted to say till now here is that we are talking about mental well-being. Mind is not the source of happiness actually. That is what we are trying to say. If we think that the mind is all in all, then all our endeavor to satisfy the mind is going to fail, as has been the case till now. So all our efforts to satisfy ourselves are actually going in a wrong direction. That is what I wanted to say. That beyond the mind there is something more. Beyond the mind there is intelligence also. What is the function of intelligence? We are not going to discuss today in detail. But at a high level, what intelligence does is what is right and what is wrong. So mind, whenever the mind is desiring something, it's not thinking whether it is right or wrong. But the intelligence thinks about it, whether it is right and wrong. Okay, so leave about it. So what we are trying to discuss about now is how we are going to satisfy ourselves then. What is, whose well-being we are talking about? Which will actually satisfy me? That is what we are trying to discuss now. Now, try to think that as we discuss that in a laptop, in a computer, the functioning is controlled by a power source. Similarly, we have to understand what is the source of power and what is the real thing which we have to work on. So here we have given some of the examples. If we polish the cage, so this is an example of a lady who was daily doing the polish in a cage, and their parrot was inside, not feeding the parrot actually, and decorating the outer, the coverings is not going to give the nourishment to the parrot, and the parrot is going to die. Similarly, we are doing all the decoration in a car, lot of things we are putting into the car. We are doing dry cleaning, we are doing painting, denting and everything, but we are not taking care of the driver. So we are going to be in a trouble. Ultimately, driver is running the car. So we have to identify the real driver. That is what we are trying to say. Is the real driver our mind? And that's why we are talking about mental well-being? Or the real driver is somebody else? That is something which we have to identify. Unless we identify that, we are not going to be in a state of mental well-being. Okay. So real being. Now we are talking about who is that real being. We have heard a lot about it. And as we discussed, that real thing which is running ourselves is the soul. Soul is the source of energy in a body. That is the difference between a dead person and a living person. If you watch a person who has just died, he has all the body organs, everything functioning actually. Suppose if somebody dies by the extra blood release, why can't we put the blood again and make the person living? Because there was something which is missing now, which is soul. So soul is the real energy, and soul is like a source of energy. But it's a tiny source of energy. Ultimately, in this huge universe, there are innumerable living entities. And soul is very tiny. We are very tiny in terms of size also. Even if we are 6 feet, our height and whatever is the weight, still we are very tiny in terms of this entire creation. So soul is a little source of energy tiny source of energy getting source from a powerhouse. For example, we have a solar system in my house. The solar system actually a very tiny source of energy because ultimately is getting the source from a sun. And similarly, we have electricity in our houses. We have transformers. The transformer gets a source energy from a power station, powerhouse, right? So whenever there is a source of energy, which is very, local source of energy, then there must be some universal source of energy as well. And that is we call as God, Allah, and whatever religion we belong to. That, if you believe in that. So, I'm not saying today you believe in God. What we are trying to say is just try to analyze. If mind is all in all, then we would have been satisfied long back. Even if you don't believe in God, just try to think that there is something which is beyond the mind as well, which is the source of energy in our body, and how to make that satisfied. That is the first step in being the state of well-being. So till now, revising again, what we have said is we all are trying to be in a state of satisfaction, happiness, but we are thinking that supplying to the orders of mind will make us happy. We are not getting that happiness. Why? We discussed that we are putting our efforts in a wrong direction, because mind is just a servant of the soul. As our senses are servant of the mind, similarly, mind is the servant of the soul. The only thing is that connection is lost right now. For example, a person is driving a chariot. Sometimes the person may lose control over the horses, and the horses may run the way they want. And this is the state we are in. We have lost the control over this mind, and therefore it is running here and there, and we are in a state of trauma actually, where the chariot may go to the left side and right side, and we may get down. So this is the first step. And now what we discuss now, how to achieve the well-being now. So we are not going to discuss only some philosophical things. Having understood that we are something beyond the mind, and to make us really satisfied, we need to know the science of soul. Now we will discuss, even if you don't agree. So suppose now you don't agree, or I don't believe in soul, I don't believe in God, I will give some of the tips. If you take these tips and try these tips in the next 1 month, you will say that there is a great change in your life, and you are achieving to that state of mental well-being slowly and slowly. Just try to follow these steps, even if you believe in them. After all, 1 month's try is nothing, not a big deal. Okay. Wake up early in the morning in the mode of goodness and do some self-introspection. You know that the entire day can be divided into 3 parts: Satoguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. The morning hours, you must have heard Brahma Muhurta, which is called 96 minutes before the sunrise is the start of the Brahma Muhurta. If you wake up at that time, before that, and that time is the best time to do some introspection. I'm not talking about do something great. Even if you sit down and in the environment, in the nature, and just start thinking where I'm going in this journey of life. Just do some introspection. Many people hear some philosophical things, something which actually makes them, compels them to think about the life. We conduct a lot of lectures on Bhagavad Gita and all those things. There are many sessions we conduct in the morning hours. Many people start as early as 4 a.m. in the morning. They do some mantra meditation. So different kind of meditation we force on, generally on mantra meditation. The chanting of few of the mantras, and in the state of introspection and meditation. So I think if you start doing that, even if you believe in that, you will see a lot of difference in your life. Because you started the journey of understanding yourself. The problem is not we are not doing enough to satisfy ourselves. The problem is we are not identifying ourselves. That is the biggest problem of hindrance in our well-being. So wake up early in the morning, because what happens is nowadays that we are losing our morning hours into sleeping. And then we are waking up after the sunrise. We call it the beginning of the mode of passion. As soon as the sun rises up, the people, you see that all the birds start, everywhere you will see people running here and there, and activity in the animals, in the birds, everywhere running for the food, getting up, getting ready for office and all those things. So that's called mode of passion. And then there is no time for introspection after that. Once you start your day in the office, after the day starts, till the time it is 7, 8, 9 p.m., you don't know where the day went. This task, this meeting, that meeting. There is no time for introspection. And what is happening? We are waking up at around 6:30, 7 in the morning, and by the time the office, we start getting up and getting ready for office. There is no time for introspection. The entire mode of goodness time in a day we are losing in sleeping. If you can adopt this, obviously for waking up early, you have to sleep early, and that is a more difficult task nowadays, to sleep early. You can wake up early, but you cannot sleep early. But I think if you, for a few days, you try this. Wake up early in the morning, chant some mantras. We can help you if you want. Otherwise, you can chant as per your religion, wherever you are connected to. We conduct those sessions in the morning, and we do some philosophical discussion in the morning before the day begins. Many people say, why should we read Bhagavad Gita at the age of 20, 25, 15? It's a work of 50. When I reach 50, I will study these scriptures. But this is not the correct way, because all the education happens when I am 1 to 25. I train myself when I am till 25. I train myself, and after that I work. So Bhagavad Gita or any of these scriptures is a training how to live life. After the life has ended almost, what is the use of reading Bhagavad Gita? I would say that there is no benefit of reading Bhagavad Gita once you are at the age of 50. So read something as per your religion, wherever religion you belong to, and do some introspection. So that's the first tip I wanted to make. Next, do mantra meditation. This we have done. Okay. Here something philosophical. This is also we have covered. As I said, somebody who is at advanced stage of knowledge, we should hear from that person. They can actually, in Bhagavad Gita it said, tad vidhi padipatena pariprashnena sevya. Go to a self-realized person. Who is a self-realized person? Whom you see that this is the person I see always in a state of constant well-being, satisfied always. Even if he's not getting anything from the life, he's so satisfied. How it is possible? Try to learn from them. What is the mantra of satisfaction? We are getting everything, but still I'm not satisfied. So here's something philosophical. And then do prayers. When prayers become part of our life, miracles become our lifestyle. That is a saying. So prayer is a very important part of our life. It makes us humble also. When we are praying, we are actually making ourselves as small in front of our parents, in front of God Almighty. When we do prayer, it is very important to become small sometimes. You know that. When we were small, you remember, then whenever we used to cross the roads, holding the hand of my father or my mother, we always used to like playing we are crossing the road. And now if we have to cross the road, we are so much worried about crossing the road, because we have to take care of everything by myself, right? We have to see here, this side and that side, and so much tension. May I mute everybody? Let me. Okay. So I was saying that sometimes it is beneficial to be small, to be under somebody, like my parents, my guardians. When we are all alone, we are under very much stress. So to become small, boys, children, they are always, joyful. Even they are defamed sometimes, even they are beaten sometimes, they are cheerful next moment. And if somebody says something to us, we are in a bad mood for next 1 week. So, prayers make us small, and prayers actually work. You must have seen in your life, if you pray hard for something, you get it. So prayers let us believe in something beyond, which is supernatural. We have a lot of discussions. I don't want to cover it now. But if you understand the nature, it does not look like nature is an automatic thing, working automatically. It looks like some almighty, somebody very intelligent is controlling the entire universe. So we must do some prayers. What should be our prayers? That's the second step. We will learn, but at least come to the stage of, you can do simply pray, oh God, if you are there, please make me realize what is the purpose of life. A simple prayer. Please make me realize what is the purpose of life. I must go in that direction, which actually fulfills the purpose of life. Because our real satisfaction will come if we fulfill the purpose, if we fulfill the targets. In a company, if you are going in the direction of fulfilling the target, then only the management is going to reward you, and you are going to feel satisfied. Similarly, there is a target of life as well. So I think everyone must do some prayers. Okay. And the last one, attitude of gratitude. If you can develop this, the life is going to change dramatically. Many people I've seen in my life, if you work, I've seen RBS a very people-friendly company. Still, I would see that the people would crib about it when they are working in this company. If you go to many other companies, then you may realize what is the benefit of working in RBS. But yes, they actually value their people. But I've seen people working in the RBS and always cribbing about the boss, about the work, and we are always saying what we have not got in life. We never appreciate what we have got in the life. Never appreciate. Whether it is my wife, whether it is my children, my office, my salary, I always think what I don't have. And I never think what I have got from God, from nature, from my parents, and from my friends. So attitude of gratitude, what we generally say, one is who is not grateful is grateful. One is not grateful. We should always be grateful to our parents, to our teachers, to the nature, getting so much oxygen. We only realize the value of oxygen when the corona spread. Now we understand, what is the value of oxygen. So similarly, we are intelligent enough not to glorify something when we are put into hard situations. Intelligent person understands the value of everything, right? In our body, we call that body can also be divided into satoguna, tamoguna, rajoguna parts. For example, our head is called Brahmana, the top. You know that if those parts from where we release our waste, they are not well functioning, the entire body will be waste. If our stomach is upset, our mood gets upset. What I want to say is everyone is important. In company also, every employee is important. In our life also, every relation is important. So therefore, we should develop the attitude of gratitude. So these are the few things. Although when you go to the journey of soul, there are a lot of other things which will contribute to the well-being. So knowing the soul is the first step of being in the state of well-being, and then doing some of the initial steps which I talked today about: waking up early and doing some mantra meditation. So hearing something philosophical which compels you to think about the life, doing prayers, and attitude of gratitude. If you develop that, that's the beginning of the journey of a constant state of well-being. So as I said, I didn't want to tell a great amount of philosophical discussion. I think it's few steps if you can take in this journey, and we can meet again. We have a lot of things, other things like how to manage the stress, how to do the prayers. So all those things we can have this detailed discussion, but we can begin with these small steps. Okay. So at the end, I think I want to hear some questions from you if you have any.
Yeah, the floor is now open for question and answer. And thank you very much, Jivandas ji, for taking your time out from your busy schedule and to be a guest speaker for this seminar today. I'm sure that our people have really taken up the simple things which you have told us, and they'll be taking that as a part of their daily routine. So, thanking you on behalf of the entire team and the participants. And floor is now open for all the people out there. If you have any questions, just raise your hands, and I'll let you, pass on your question directly to the Jivandas ji. There is a poll which is there on your screen, so I appreciate if you can, submit your responses to that, and it will help us, facilitate more sessions in future. So there is a question from Prashant, and he's asking that any specific mantra to chant.
So there are a lot of mantras. You can try. I generally try Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And my life has changed in the last 15 years, total change. I used to do a lot. I was never satisfied in a job, which none of us are. I used to change my job every year earlier. So 1 year in one company, another in another company. So, but when I started this, there was a great amount of change in my life. The way I think, my relationship with my family, everything changed a lot. And I do this. Many people do different mantras, but I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. And it's nothing to do with the religion. People sometimes call, oh, this is Hindu mantra. No, we have a lot of people who are Muslims, who are Sikhs, and who are Christians who are chanting this mantra. So mantra is mantra. Mantra does not belong to a community or a class or a religion. It is for the upliftment of the soul. And we have seen that this mantra really works.
Any other questions? So thanks once again, Jivandas ji, and we'll be taking and trying to imbibe these little things into our daily routine. to move further ahead towards the journey and make our mind a little clutter free. Thank you once again.
Thank you, and I really I'm thankful for giving this opportunity to me. And whenever you think that you want to proceed ahead in this journey, I can come here officially, or you can reach out to me personally as well. We have a channel, Nitya Krishna Das, where we have these morning sessions with this Bhagavad Gita seminars on Bhagavad Gita, where we discuss in detail, because of limited time and scope, we just touched upon some of the things. And if you want to go into the detail, we have all those lectures lying there which are available for you. Thank you very much.